Is there going to be an election or is there not? We're gonna find out. Tensions are extremely high because today they are voting on the GST tax credit. So it's a tax exemption, as I'm sure you're aware, but only for 60 days. And the entire Parliament, the entirety of the House of Commons has lost confidence in Justin Trudeau. Jagmeet doesn't seem to support it. The Bloc Québécois does not support it. And Pierre, poilievre, and the Conservatives don't support it. So sit back, relax, and let's navigate today's question period highlights along with what happened after with a potential vote of non-confidence in today's video. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I want to encourage y'all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. And without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, folks, this is the vote for the GST. This is part one of the vote. The second part will happen after question period. Okay, this is crazy. The Bloc has yet to actually vote in favor of anything with the Conservatives. So now we've got a French Conservative coalition versus the NDP Liberal coalition. Libs, yay. Bloc. Kevin Vaughn, nay. We love you, Kevin. We love you. There's Randy. There's Randy. There's Randy. Nay. Oh, except Han Dong. Han Dong's independent, but he voted yay. Traitor. Oops. Am I allowed to say that?
Recorded as yay.
Dude, is May drunk? I want whatever May's having.
I declare the motion carried.
177 to 148. Yeah. 60 days, no GST. There you go. It's official. Oral questions. Questions on. Honorable Leader of the Opposition to be next Prime Minister Canada, Pierre, poilievre.
This weak Prime Minister has lost control. He's lost control of immigration, lost control of our borders. And now we're facing massive threats to our economy. Right now, there are as many as 500,000 people here illegally. There are 700,000 students who came here with the implicit promise they'd be able to stay forever. And now they're being told they have to leave with the temptation that they might head south for the much stronger economy than we have here, which would provoke a massive retaliatory tariff. So what's the plan to reverse all the damage the Prime Minister's done?
The Honourable Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Refugees.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hundreds of thousands of people come to this country every year and then leave. They're called tourists. Hundreds of thousands of people come here as temporary residents, and then they leave. Some become permanent residents. There is a plan to achieve that. They will migrate into permanent residency, but not all can stay here. And when they refuse to do so, they will be removed. But you can't make this up, Mr. Speaker.
Will they be deported?
The member opposite, the Leader of the Opposition, is doing with the member of Edmonton Millwoods is going around to these people, pandering to them, promising them to have visas and promising not to deport them. Deport them. That is highly irresponsible and it's incompetent.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, that member hallucinates almost as badly as his weak leader, who refuses to stand and answer for his own border failures. Let's look at his record. He opened Roxham Road. He kept it open for a year longer than the Americans required. He put out a tweet saying, "Welcome to Canada," inviting people to come here illegally. According to that minister's department, there are 500,000 people here illegally, all of whom could be tempted to go south of the border, provoking a massive retaliatory response. So once again, what's the plan to fix what he broke?
The Honourable Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Refugees.
Speaker, we'll tweet out the video of him pandering to people, entertaining false hope, promising visas to everyone, promising they won't get deported. That's highly incompetent. Worse than that, Mr. Speaker, is he's refusing to get his security clearance. That is irresponsible for any purported leader of this country, any responsible person in politics. He needs to grow a pair, get the briefing.
Uh-oh, he's going to get in trouble for that. Yeah, there you go, House Speaker. Cut his finger off. Rip his tongue out. Rip his tongue out. Peel his fingernails off. They muted the mic. God God damn it! They muted the mic. You son of a bitch. His workaround for my petition is he doesn't mute it. He does a gang signal like that.
A large flexibility that Speaker gives, of course, to the language that's used in here. But I think that might be beyond the border. I'm going to ask the Honourable Minister if he could just withdraw those words.
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw those words. On a day like this, I would
pussy.
all flannel and no axe.
All flannel and no axe.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, once again shows the erratic, out-of-control government we have.
They need a mental institution.
His minister is hiding from questions. His minister is losing control of his words and his mind. This is a government that is falling to pieces. The Prime Minister has lost control of the border, lost control of immigration, lost control of our finances, and now lost control of his caucus, who are saying that they've been intimidated into voting in favor of his tiny tax trick. He's lost control, but he's holding on to power.
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't know what the member is talking about. On this side of the House, we can have conversations, we can have debates, and we don't get shut down from speaking like the members opposite, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, let's talk about today. We are moving forward with a GST cut for every single Canadian. And what have we heard from the Leader of the Opposition? He's opposed to tax cuts, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he's all talk, no walk. He's not there for Canadians. On this side of the House, we're going to support Canadians and let our members have debates and conversations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That's pretty lame.
Order.
Yo, today's a zoo. The closer we get to the holidays, the crazier this gets.
And I have the Honourable Member from Thornhill.
After doubling the cost of housing, adding an inflationary carbon tax to everything that Canadians buy, and giving us the highest levels of debt in the G7, the Prime Minister's plan is a temporary, tiny 2-month tax trick. But not even small businesses are fooled. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says that only 4% of small businesses expect a sales boost because of the latest last-ditch effort for the Prime Minister to save his own job. If he's so sure about his plan, why doesn't he call a carbon tax election and let Canadians decide? Right.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
With respect, the member ought to look at what the Retail Council of Canada has said on the matter, what Restaurants Canada has said on the matter as well, Mr. Speaker. Small business owners in my community across the country will benefit as a result of this tax cut. It's exactly what it is, a tax cut for workers, a tax cut for families. What's also surprising, Mr. Speaker, and I just heard the name, they talked about Aaron O'Toole. That's exactly right. He put this initiative on the table in the summer of 21. We're supporting it now. You know who else supported it? The Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Speaker. He reposted a tweet from Aaron O'Toole at that time, but doesn't want to support it now, Mr. Speaker.
The Liberals are so boring.
The Honourable Member from Thornhill.
Mr. Speaker, this isn't a tax cut. It's a distraction before a much, much bigger permanent tax hike. Even his own Liberal MPs are now opposing this. The member from Hamilton East Stony Creek says that he was threatened with, quote, consequences if he voted against it. Rather than threatening his own MPs, muzzling them like he's accused others of doing, we have a weakened Prime Minister terrified of facing Canadians. So if he's so sure about his own leadership, if he's so sure about his own plan, why won't he allow his own MPs to have a free vote on this one today?
There you go.
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the
Leave it up to Canadians.
Construction communities.
Workers going for groceries, Mr. Speaker, who want to eat out, who want to buy gifts during Christmas, Mr. Speaker. That's who's on our mind, Mr. Speaker. Families who want to buy diapers for their kids, who want to buy kids' clothes. That young family who's excited about a new child coming into the family, Mr. Speaker. Car seats are expensive. There's a tax savings on that too, Mr. Speaker. The leader of the opposition supported this initiative in 2021, but doesn't want to now because it's a Liberal initiative. Will the real Pierre Poilievre stand up in this House of Commons?
Well, I guess they're making life better for us for 60 days, so we should vote for them, right?
Member from Calgary, Forest Lawn.
This goes to Straj. Oh. What's going on?
Sorry, I did not hear the honourable member, and I'm going to ask members if members were able to hold their voices unless recognized by the speaker. It'd be easier for the speaker to hear a statement. The honourable member apparently had mentioned the name of another honourable member. I'll ask the honourable member to just rise and use the name of...
It's an honest mistake, Mr. Speaker. I withdraw.
The honourable member from Calgary, Forest Lawn.
Turning temporary 2-month tax tricks won't save this desperate Prime Minister. After doubling housing costs, doubling the national debt, doubling food bank usage, now he's blaming Canadians for not feeling the vibe of this pricey gimmick. Yeah. Now he's even threatening his own Liberal MP from Hamilton, East Stony Creek, for not supporting this vote-buying scheme. Instead of threatening MPs to take cents off Skittles, call a carbon tax election now so common-sense Conservatives can axe the tax for good.
Yeah. Taking cents off Skittles. Yo, I like that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I know the Leader of the Opposition knows a thing or two about threatening his own MPs, because if they don't speak in 3-word slogans, we never hear from them again. But, Mr. Speaker, what I can say is that on this side of the House, we are excited to deliver a tax cut for Canadians. And for the mom who has to buy diapers and groceries and a car seat, this is meaningful for her, Mr. Speaker. Who it's not meaningful for is the Leader of the Opposition, because when it comes to supporting everyday Canadians, he would rather support himself than give them a break over the holidays. That's so disappointing, and Canadians across this country are disappointed in him. Thank you. Yeah.
For 60 days. You people are insane.
Calgary, Forest Lawn.
The only thing they're cutting is moms that have to cut down on the nutritious food that they can give to their kids and sending them into food bank lines. And after this temporary tax trick is done, they're going to jack up the carbon tax on April the 1st, making everything more expensive. And anyone who doesn't believe in this Prime Minister's radical plan, he threatens them with consequences. This inflationary vote-buying scheme will add another $6 billion to this Prime Minister's growing deficit. Instead of taking chump change off chocolates, call a carbon tax election now so we can axe the tax for good.
Permanent tax. Permanent tax cut.
Government House Leader in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, the GST that we are proposing to remove is going to be removed on essential items like groceries, like children's clothing, like diapers.
So do it forever.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know if the honourable colleague has children, but if he did, he would know just how expensive those items are for Canadians. And for Canadians who have to buy these essential items, this tax cut makes a difference, Mr. Speaker. I don't understand why Conservative members of Parliament don't get that, but I hope they change their mind and support this measure, because it's
Ask the honourable member from South Shore.
Make it permanent. Why are you putting relief on 60 days? That's insane.
South Shore St. Margaret's to please not take the floor unless recognized by the Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, because the NDP Liberals are trying to fool Canadians with a 2-month tax trick, small businesses are being forced and are scrambling to reprogram their point-of-sales machines and to find the time and money to pay for these changes. It is a shame the Minister of Small Business knew and did not care that this tax trick would hurt the very businesses she purports to help. We all know an election is coming. Can we simply stop with the desperation and call for a carbon tax election today?
The Honourable Minister for Small Businesses.
Mr. Speaker, the only thing that member and his party can offer small businesses are slogans on repeat, cuts to programs that are essential, and cuts. So, Mr. Speaker, our tax break is not just good for small businesses, it's good for their customers. This tax break isn't just helping families, it's also supporting the entire community and boosting their
She really believes it
stores,
so much that she's got to read off a
and
script.
small businesses that power our local economy. CRA has provided further guidance on this today, which will help support small businesses, and small businesses can call the CRA hotline to get further support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Bay of Quinte.
Mr. Speaker, 40% of Canada's economy is tied to our relationship and trade with the U.S. But after 9 years, we have no softwood lumber deal. And what's happened? Tariffs have doubled, and they're set to double again if we have a first increase but a second if Trump gets his way and we don't fix the border. After 9 years, Mr. Speaker, we have lost 90,000 jobs in softwood lumber, 40,000 each in Ontario, Quebec alone. The last Prime Minister solved this in 79 days. It's been 3,311 days. Where's the plan for softwood lumber?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we will always stand up for forestry workers and our lumber industry. We stood up for Canada when the U.S. imposed aluminum and steel tariffs on us. What did the Conservatives said? They urged us to back down and capitulate. When we renegotiated NAFTA back in 2018, we stood strong and protected Canada's economy, while the Conservatives asked us to capitulate. We have a proven track record when it comes to negotiating, Mr. Speaker. We will continue to protect Canadian workers and Canadian industry. Thank you.
The honourable member for
I don't want you to protect nothing. I want you out.
Canada, when the plan is to pile on taxes, make energy and production more expensive, and sideline our Canadian industry on the global stage. What kind of team has no game plan after 9 years, has lost 90,000 softwood lumber jobs, got kicked out of CUSMA negotiations, and sat on the sidelines when Mexico overcame Canada for the USA's #1 trading partner? But here's a Canada First plan. Axe the tax, scrap the cap on oil and gas production, and fix softwood lumber. Why doesn't the Prime Minister use that common sense Canada First plan?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for International Trade.
Mr. Speaker, the U.S. is a very important partner to our economy and to our relationships with the rest of the world. When you talk about trade, we have $1.3 trillion of trade last year with the U.S., which is a record since we renegotiated NAFTA in 2018. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to be at the table with a Team Canada approach as we continue to protect Canadian businesses and workers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I hate how they keep saying a Team Canada approach.
Canada's 3 million temporary migrants do not appear poised to leave voluntarily. That's the headline from a major Canadian newspaper. The Immigration Minister naively expects that they'll leave voluntarily. Migrant advocates admit they have no such plans. This sets the stage for mass overstays and more illegal border crossings into the United States. This strains our relations with the newly elected U.S. administration, now threatening a 25% tariff if we don't secure our border. What is the Prime Minister's plan to enforce the laws and ensure that people who need to leave do so?
The Honourable Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Refugees.
First, Mr. Speaker, the members opposite can get their facts straight. They float around numbers, 3 million, 5 million. They actually don't know what they're talking about in response to their own order paper question. I hear them heckling me, but who they really should be heckling is the leader of the opposition, who is pandering to all these groups, promising visas to everyone and not to deport anyone. That's not responsible. He really needs to grow up if he's going to be responsible. Thank you.
Now ask the honourable member from Grand Prairie Mackenzie, please, not to take the floor unless recognised by the Speaker. The honourable member from Calgary Shepherd.
Mr. Speaker, the minister had no answers at committee when I asked him the same questions. He doesn't know his numbers because he has no plan. It's really simple. The lack of a plan threatens the integrity of our immigration system. It risks significant diplomatic damage with this newly incoming U.S. administration. Are they deploying more police to the border? They don't know. Are they deploying advanced technology, and are they using it for border surveillance? They don't know. Are they going to use CBSA with more resources, more agents on the border? They don't know. YouTube videos aren't enough. Will the Prime Minister present a Made in Canada First plan that will make sure that everybody that's required to leave will actually do so?
Hear, hear, hear. Well. Order. Order.
I guess you're not grown up enough, eh?
Oh my God. This is getting pretty nasty.
Secretary to the Minister for Public Safety.
it seems the Conservatives are a little nervous about me responding, probably because I'm going to point out the fact that they cut over 1,000 jobs from CBSA. They were warned that their cuts would lead to more guns, more human trafficking, more drugs entering our border. But what did we do on this side of the House? We reversed those cuts. We invest in our police services. As a result, we've seen an increase of 600% more misrepresentation in investigations happening, and a decrease of migrants entering the border through the South by 50% because investments work.
Mr. Speaker, a new study from the Fraser Institute has shown that that violent and property crime rates in Canada are exceeding those in the United States. In 2014, before this Prime Minister took office, crime rates were lowest. Now violent crime is up 43.8%, which is 14% higher than in the United States. Similarly, our property crime rates are up 27.5% higher than in the United States. When will this Prime Minister admit that he should abandon his failed soft-on-crime policies?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for Public Safety.
While Conservatives use skewed data to talk down Canada, we're actually investing in the brave police who do this hard work every single day. And as a result of those investments, we're seeing massive success in our police services. For example, October 31st, the RCMP announced the largest, most sophisticated drug seizure with over 95 million of lethal doses of meth and fentanyl, because that's what investments make while Conservatives talk down Canada.
The Honourable Member for Haldimand Norfolk.
Now that answer would suggest that these statistics are all in our head, yet the data clearly reveals that
she's good.
Has become a
I'm glad she's getting some mic time.
Place under this Prime Minister. Since 2015, violent crime is up 50%, and gun crime is up 116%.
Those are numbers.
Since that has happened, we have seen no urgency from this Prime Minister. Where is the urgency? When will he admit that his dangerous soft-on-crime policies has made Canada unsafe, and now Canadians are paying the price?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's safe to say we don't want to know what's in that member's head. But on this side of the House, we are actually investing in the RCMP. We work with police right across this country, and as a result, we're seeing some of the largest drug and gun seizures in this country's history. Conservatives talk a big game, but what they did is they cut to the guns and gangs program to the RCMP. They cut resources at CBSA and our borders. And what did that do? That brought in drugs and guns into our country, and Conservatives made those cuts.
Shut the hell up.
Mr. Speaker, a new study from the Fraser Institute has shown that that violent and property crime rates in Canada are exceeding those in the United States. In 2014, before this Prime Minister took office, crime rates were lowest. Now violent crime is up 43.8%, which is 14% higher than in the United States. Similarly, our property crime rates are up 27.5% higher than in the United States. When will this Prime Minister admit that he should abandon his failed soft-on-crime policies?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for Public Safety.
While Conservatives use skewed data to talk down Canada, we're actually investing in the brave police who do this hard work every single day. And as a result of those investments, we're seeing massive success in our police services. For example, October 31st, the RCMP announced the largest, most sophisticated drug seizure with over 95 million of lethal doses of meth and fentanyl, because that's what investments make while Conservatives talk down Canada.
The Honourable Member for Haldimand Norfolk.
Now, that answer would suggest that these statistics are all in our head. Yet, the data clearly reveals that
she's good.
has become a
I'm glad she's getting some mic time.
place under this Prime Minister. Since 2015, violent crime is up 50%, and gun crime is up 116%.
Those are numbers.
Since that has happened, we have seen no urgency from this Prime Minister. Where is the urgency? When will he admit that his dangerous soft-on-crime policies has made Canada unsafe, and now Canadians are paying the price?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's safe to say we don't want to know what's in that member's head. But on this side of the House, we are actually investing in the RCMP. We work with police right across this country. And as a result, we're seeing some of the largest drug and gun seizures in this country's history. Conservatives talk a big game, but what they did is they cut to the guns and gangs program to the RCMP. They cut resources at CBSA and our borders. And what did that do? That brought in drugs and guns into our country, and Conservatives made those cuts.
Shut the hell up.
Honourable Member for Dauphin, Swan River, Neepawa.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday at committee, the Environment Minister recklessly promised to quadruple the carbon tax despite American tariffs that will cripple our economy. He gleefully stated, "Of course, we're going to continue with the carbon tax." With 40% of our economy dependent on trade with the United States, he should have just said, "Of course, I'm going to kill our economy."
That's right.
He's done it before, he'll do it again. Why is this minister so hell-bent on vandalizing Canada's economy?
Why? The Honourable Minister for the Environment and Climate Change.
Mr. Speaker, because of carbon pricing in Canada, it's generating $25 billion of investment every year in our economy, Mr. Speaker. It's putting more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians, and it's helping us reduce our emissions for the first time in our history.
Oh, God, shut up.
Conservative Party of Canada, they would let the planet burn, Mr. Speaker. They would bring the economy down. They would let Canadians down. Not on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker. We're there for Canadians. We will fight climate change. We will support the economy. We will create good jobs for Canadians.
I'm going to go rev my Dodge 1500 right after this for fun.
Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister's radical environment minister is willing to drive Canada's economy into the ground with no remorse. The carbon tax will cost the Canadian economy $25 billion by 2030. In the face of 25% tariffs, the minister can do something. He can cancel his planned quadrupling of the carbon tax. If the minister is unwilling to protect our economy, will the Prime Minister at least allow Canadians to protect our economy and call a carbon tax election?
The Honourable
Make the tax cut permanent.
Order. The Honourable Minister for the Environment and Climate Change.
The Conservative Party of Canada, when it comes to many things, including climate change, is extremely reckless. This is the party that's let the people of Jasper down, Mr. Speaker. For 4 consecutive years, they invested nothing to protect Jasper from forest fires from 2011 to 2015. Zero hectares of fire removal, 0 hectares of mechanical removals to prevent forest fires. They let Jasper down. Now they want to let the Canadians...
No, you did, buddy.
Not on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker.
That park burned down because of you. Our national park burned because of you and your incompetence.
Order. The Honourable Member from Lakeland.
9 years of economic vandalism proves these NDP Liberals aren't worth the cost. The radical environment minister's own department now admits their carbon tax will cut $25 billion from Canada's economy in the next 6 years, but he doesn't care. He said they'll quadruple it anyway. Canadians already can't afford to eat or to heat, house or drive themselves. So with the threat of 25% crushing tariffs on Canadian goods, will the Liberals finally put Canada first and axe the tax for all for good so Canadians can actually afford to live?
I'd put some W's in the chat for that. That was good.
The Honourable Minister for Natural Resources and
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Energy.
I'm honestly not sure how Canadians can give any credence to anything that member and those folks over there say. That member on the other side of the House ran on a platform that included putting a price on pollution. It is the height of hypocrisy. At the same time, she and her colleagues are denying the science of climate change, and they are condemning our children to a future that is a terrible one indeed. From an economic perspective, they have no plan to build an economy that will actually create good jobs for our kids and our grandkids. It is absolutely shameful, the positions that they take.
Crimea River. Update your resume, big boy.
Colleagues.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. On your way out, I would like to encourage you guys to smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.